So, picture this. You're Robert De Niro, Hollywood royalty, decades of Oscars, iconic roles, and a level of respect no Instagram influencer could ever buy. It's your 82nd birthday. You're probably sipping champagne, enjoying your legendary career, when suddenly, a box shows up. A shiny ribbon-wrapped gift basket. At first glance, it looks expensive. Fancy wine, luxury trinkets, artisanal odds and ends. But then your eyes land on the tag, that one little tag that changes the whole story. Because written right there, bold as ever, is the stamp HRH, yes. Meghan Markle, former actress, Duchess by marriage, and now full-time brand hustler, had the audacity to send Robert De Niro a royal-branded gift basket on his birthday. She thought she was being slick, thought she was pulling off some Hollywood power move, but instead, she got burned. Let's get into it. Meghan's basket wasn't just wine and jam, it was a PR stunt with a bow on top. Packed inside were bottles of her so-called $90 homemade wine, $120 artisanal knickknacks, and enough luxury fluff to scream, "Look at me." But Robert De Niro, he's not that guy. He's old school, no nonsense, not the type to fall for freebies. When he opened it up and saw what it was, he didn't play along. Nope. He reportedly dismissed it outright. Not just dismissed, he torched it. His reaction was brutal. "I don't need this. I don't even want this." That wasn't just a rejection. That was a kill shot. And just like that, Meghan's little stunt turned into Hollywood's latest running joke. Now here's the thing. Meghan Markle's been walking a razor-thin line ever since she and Harry stepped back from royal life. She keeps saying she wanted independence, freedom, a chance to build her own empire. But the one thing she refuses to let go of, that royal branding, that HRH tag, technically she's not even supposed to use it anymore. Yet she clings to it like it's her last lifeline to relevance. And this basket? It wasn't a birthday gift. It was a loaded PR pitch disguised as generosity. Hollywood insiders didn't see it as thoughtful. They saw it for what it was, a desperate grab for attention. Meghan thought that attaching herself to De Niro, a universally respected Hollywood icon, would send a message that she was still in, still admired, still connected. But here's the twist. De Niro doesn't play palace games. Instead of quietly ignoring her little stunt, he rejected it in a way that spread like wildfire. Not just in whispers, but in the kind of industry gossip that burns reputations to ashes. Suddenly, Meghan's soft relaunch turned into an internet meme. People started calling it a bribe in a basket. Even her wine, her pride and joy, got roasted. Social media went wild, mocking her for slapping HRH on luxury items like she was trying to sell royalty on clearance. And just like that, the illusion cracked. See, this wasn't just about Robert De Niro. This was about everything Meghan's been trying and failing to claw back. Attention, validation, a place at Hollywood's table. But with every rejection, the cracks widen. Spotify pulled the plug on her podcast. Netflix scaled back their once-hyped deal. The Oprah circle, rumored to be drifting away. Even her birthday this year barely made headlines, except for her lawyer posting something. Ouch. So this basket wasn't a gift. It was a lifeline, a desperate attempt to tie her name to someone who still matters. And when De Niro rejected it, Meghan was left standing there, humiliated, holding an empty basket and a shredded reputation. Robert De Niro's rejection wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. It exposed her entire strategy for what it really is, a glossy illusion propped up by branding and proximity, with very little substance behind it. And Hollywood sees right through it. Here's the kicker. Robert De Niro wasn't the first. Insiders say Meghan's been sending these baskets to multiple Hollywood power players, producers, actors, even media execs. And the response? Crickets. Some sent them back, others passed them to assistants. A few just ghosted her altogether. The common thread? No one's biting. Because here's the truth. This isn't networking. This isn't friendship. This is Meghan cold calling Hollywood with ribbon on top. And in Los Angeles, where image is currency, desperation reeks. She thinks she's playing Duchess. But to Hollywood, she's playing try hard, still using royal tags, still treating celebrities like courtiers, still pretending influence can be bought in bulk. The rules have changed. And Meghan, she hasn't caught up. So here's where it gets brutal. Robert De Niro's quiet but cutthroat rejection didn't just bruise Meghan's ego. It cracked open her entire Hollywood facade. In a town where whispers travel faster than press releases, this wasn't some minor embarrassment. It became the story. Let's be clear, Hollywood didn't just laugh at Meghan's basket. They dissected it. The $90 homemade wine? Mocked. The $120 artisanal jam jars? Ridiculed. And that handwritten note stamped with HRH? That was the final nail. Assistants laughed behind closed doors. Executives rolled their eyes. Within days, the basket wasn't a gift. It was a meme. They called it everything from a royal bribe to desperation in ribbon. And here's the sting. This isn't the royal bubble anymore. Meghan doesn't have courtiers cleaning up her mess or tabloids forced to play nice. This is Hollywood, a place where image is blood sport. And once the laughter starts, it's almost impossible to recover. For Meghan, this wasn't just bad optics. It was radioactive. Hollywood doesn't hate desperation, but it punishes it. Because the moment a celebrity starts looking like they're begging to belong, they stop being an asset and start being a liability. And Meghan? She just crossed that line in full view of the industry. Her basket didn't whisper influence, it screamed insecurity. Instead of looking like a woman in control, she looked like someone clawing at the edges of a world that had already moved on. The silence afterward was deafening. No A-listers came forward to defend her, no one posted support. Not even a polite thank you surfaced online. Just silence. Cold, chilling silence. Here's the real kicker. Meghan's entire brand has always run on smoke and mirrors. A cocktail of prestige, proximity, and polished PR. For a while, it worked. She had Oprah, she had Netflix, she had Spotify. She had those royal titles that made her sound bigger, shinier, more important. But with every failure, every canceled deal, every underwhelming project, the cracks have been widening. And now, Robert De Niro didn't just reject a gift. He pulled the curtain back. He showed the world what insiders were already whispering. Meghan's empire is built on packaging, not substance. When the packaging stopped dazzling, the truth spilled out. The podcast flopped. The Netflix projects fizzled. The children's content, lifestyle shows, cooking segments, none of it landed. It was all fluff, no fire. So Meghan doubled down. More branding, more polish, more baskets, and that's exactly how she got burned, because the second the product doesn't deliver, the packaging just looks like distraction. Robert De Niro didn't give a speech. He didn't tweet a rant, he didn't write a statement, he just said no. But that single, blunt rejection did more damage than any tabloid could. It said out loud what Hollywood had been thinking in whispers. We see what you're trying to do, and it's not working. That was the message, and the ripple effect was immediate. Suddenly, Meghan wasn't just out of touch, she was desperate. And in Hollywood, that's fatal. Since the rejection, Meghan's world has been shifting, and not in her favor. Projects have stalled. Old allies are stepping back. People who once championed her narrative are suddenly very, very quiet. A-listers are reportedly making sure they're not photographed with her at events. Even her old Oprah connection feels distant now. Because here's the harsh truth. Being aligned with Meghan doesn't feel bold anymore. It feels risky. Her royal connection, the one engine that powered everything, has run out of fuel, and the harder she clings to it with baskets, branding, or borrowed prestige, the more obvious it becomes. She's drifting, fast. And then comes the elephant in the room: money. Why is Meghan dropping hundreds of dollars on vanity baskets when whispers of financial strain are already swirling? Spotify fallout, Netflix pullbacks, Harry's memoir reportedly being their last big card. Suddenly, those gift baskets don't just look desperate. They look tone-deaf. Hollywood insiders don't see generosity, they see panic spending. And in an industry where audiences are sharper than ever, throwing money at branding without backing it up doesn't scream success, it screams insecurity. What's worse, Meghan's team stayed quiet. No rebuttals, no clarifications, nothing. And in Hollywood, silence sometimes says more than spin. It painted a picture of someone panicking behind the scenes, someone who knows the game is slipping away. This is the same woman who once sat next to Oprah, graced the cover of Time, and commanded the world's attention. But now, the silence after De Niro's rejection hit harder than any headline, because in Hollywood, indifference is deadlier than hate. And that's where Meghan stands now, not as Hollywood's next big star, but as a cautionary tale. She had the spotlight, she had sympathy, she had a story people wanted to root for. But instead of carving her own authentic path, she repackaged the same royal branding over and over again, hoping the shine would last forever. Now, that shine has dulled. With love, Meghan was supposed to be her tagline. Instead, it's become a punchline. The woman who left royalty to find independence is now seen as someone trying to buy her way back into a circle that doesn't want her. And Robert De Niro, he just became the unofficial voice of Hollywood's verdict. At the end of the day, Robert De Niro didn't just turn down a birthday gift, he delivered a reality check, a message that echoed through every corner of Hollywood. No amount of wine, no handwritten HRH tags, no luxury baskets can buy your way back in. And that's the cruelest twist of all. Meghan Markle, once the woman the world couldn't stop watching, now stands at the edge of an industry that no longer sees her as an asset, but as a warning. Because in Hollywood, relevance is everything. And when the laughter starts, there's nowhere left to hide.